guides. It is time for my very first build guide slash character show off slash however you want to call it. People who know me, they will realize it really makes sense that I'm starting off here with a bow character, because it's my favorite playstyle and I really enjoyed this character a lot. I played it for quite some weeks during the Hardcore Souls Are Found flashback event in Synthesis. And I reached rank 10 with it, so I will get a demi soon. Yeah, it's a really nice and pretty strong build. And I want to show you how it's built and the items I have. Because again, it's Souls Are Found and you can make a really strong character even on Souls Are Found, especially with fossil crafting, but we will get to this later. So let's look at the gear of this character. Nothing too fancy really, because again, we Souls Are Found. What makes sense and what is a big plus for your character is indeed a +3 bow. Having it on a base that's having quite some attack speed is of course also very nice. And as this bow build behaves more like a spellcaster in this regard, plus levels to gems are really huge on your DPS. So this is a pretty nice bow. We got the +3. We unfortunately didn't get any Elder mod, but that's not too important. And it's a nice base too, so it has 1.5 attack speed per second, which is nice too. And together with the fossil crafting, we were able to also have always an open prefix, which is amazing, because the open prefix makes us be able to craft the non-ailment chaos damage over time multiplier on this bow, which is huge. It's like just a more multiplier. It's very similar to like just some support gem. So this is pretty crazy. It's really nice. And this is one of the other benefits of fossil crafting this bow, because you're crafting with 3 different fossils. It's the metallic, the corroded, and the prismatic fossil. And these 3 fossils combined will make sure that all you can get as a prefix on this base will be either +2 gems or +2 bow gems, or both together, which you are aiming for, of course. It took me only 2 tries to get this one. So 2 tries to get this +3 bow, which is really very nice. And if you're even on Trade League, then these fossils are not even worth that much. So it's really rather easy to get this bow. Just be careful with the item level of the bow, because it needs to be at least item level 64 to be able to get +2 to socketed bow gems. Otherwise it can only have +1. I had this problem on another bow I casually 6-linked while leveling, and it was just item level 61, and then I didn't get the +2, so I had to get a new 6-link bow. But no problem, I'm pro at this now. I can actually 6-link things. It's pretty nice. Especially on Souls Are Found, of course. Just be careful that your bow doesn't have item level 83+, because then you could possibly also get +2 chaos damage on your bow. And this is a prefix and you don't want that. So have it between item level 84 and 82 and you're gonna be Gucci. So the next item here is a drill neck, which is very nice overall. It has some life, it has some evasion rating, attack speed, also pierce on top of it. The physical damage we don't care too much about, but the arrows deal 50% increased damage with hits and ailments to targets they pierce is super huge for your clear. Just keep in mind that Caustic Arrow is the only main gem that's getting supported by it, because Toxic Rain can't pierce, and therefore only the attack speed here helps the DPS of your Toxic Rain. So there might be better options here, but this was the best option I got on Sosa Found. Then having these gloves is pretty nice, like the gripped gloves that give you increased projectile attack damage. That's just pretty sweet. It gives you some nice damage boost. And yeah, just craft life and resistances on it as you need them. This pretty much is the same for all the other gear too. Just try to get life and resistances on them. And also movement speed, if you get some movement speed on your boots, of course. But yeah, again, Sosa Found gear, so it's not crazy, but it's pretty nice, it's pretty decent. You can also benchcraft quite some damage or chaos damage on your gear. Just check at the bench what you can do. And here I only have a 5-link because I refused to 6-link this thing. Because what I wanted to get was cherubims. This is a unique body armor that would be awesome for this build. I tried to chance it and I didn't get it, and I also didn't drop it. So yeah, this was just not meant to be for me this race, but it's not so rare, and on trade you can get it rather easily for not too much money. And the really cool thing about it is it gives you quite some life, and on top of that quite some damage too. So up to 80% increased chaos damage, which is really nice. Another option would be Queen of the Forest or Carcass Check, but I really enjoyed having the big life pool on the cherubims, so I tried to go for this one. And also on top of that, I didn't drop any of the other unique body armors, so there wasn't even a choice to be made there for me. I got lucky here with this flask. The Witchfire Brew is amazing for this build. It gives you a lot of damage. It also gives you some very nice defense with being a Stibnite flask. So the invasion rating you can really feel, and also the smoke cloud for melees is super huge in my opinion. The other flasks are pretty much preference, I'd say. I would definitely recommend having a Basalt flask, because it's pretty much the #1 defense option for physical damage on acrobatics characters in my opinion. Simply because it's a flat 15% additional physical damage reduction. So this also counts for dots, this also counts for spells, so it's just really huge. It's just not so nice to craft, because you really want to have either reduced charges used or increased charges on the flask. And you have to maybe try a bit to get the perfect one. I was pretty lucky with this one, so that was pretty nice. My next one is just a Quicksilver flask. You could try to get a Quicksilver together with Adrenaline, so even more movement speed. But I just like to have freeze and chill removal on my Quicksilver, because whenever I wanna be like fast, I just press the Quicksilver and I know, okay, nothing can hold me back now. Because if you have like the freeze and chill removal somewhere else, and then you're in an area where you have all this cold ground, then yeah, it's not so nice for me. My last remaining flask I have here is a Quartz flask. It's really huge to be able to just phase through enemies when you just want to go fast and you are not that tanky. So you can really get out of tricky situations quickly, especially when you're using Blink Arrow as your movement skill, because it has some cooldown. And yeah, also on top of that you have dodge chance, and this is just another layer of defense, which can be really helpful in certain situations. Like for example, when I pop this Quartz flask and I also pop my Val Grace, it's rather safe for me, even in situations with a lot of spellcasters around me, that I don't really get hit anymore. So that's pretty nice. Yeah, so much to the gear. Let's get into the gems now. So I'm a hybrid character here, which means I'm using 2 skills for clear and for single target combined. My main clear skill is Caustic Arrow. I have it in the +3 bow, so it gets the most damage boost from my weapon. I have it linked together with Void Manipulation, Vicious Projectiles, Swift Affliction, Slower Projectiles, and very, very important for your clear, Pierce. You can either get the Pierce as a support gem, as I did, or you can get the Pierce on your tree. I decided to go for the support gem, because if you have it on your tree, it needs a few points and it doesn't benefit your other skill gem. Toxic Rain cannot pierce, so it's just some points on the tree for only one skill. And yeah, I also wanted to see how much damage I'm doing and if it's good enough. If it would have been too bad for the clear, I would have just got the points on the tree and switched this out for another more multiplier, probably also an Empower. My second damage skill is Toxic Rain. I use it especially for rares and for bosses. It's just really good for single target, and I have it linked with Void Manipulation, Mirage Archer, Swift Affliction, and Vicious Projectiles. If I would have had a 6th link, I would also just add in Slower Projectiles as my 6th link. Really nice on it is having the Mirage Archer. It helps you with the clear, it helps you with the single target, and especially while leveling, you can just run and your Mirage Archer keeps shooting at the enemies and you just kill everything without even doing anything yourself anymore, which makes you really fast and is just really nice to play. So these were my two main damage dealing skills, but to boost their damage even more, I also run a Wither Totem. It's really cool together with multiple totem support, because you always place 2 totems with just one cast, which is really nice because it saves you quite some time, because you also don't really have totem placement speed. You just have totem placement speed when you are getting multiple totem support and spell totem support with quality. So I highly recommend getting this with 20% quality, because it really, really helps a lot with placing the totems quickly. And the faster you place your totems, the sooner you can do damage yourself. If you have space in your gear, you could also link increased duration with it together, but it's not that needed in my opinion. So I got a Grace, well actually a Val Grace, which is really huge for this build. I mean, Grace just gives you additional evasion rating, which is very nice. But on top of that, you have the Val Grace, which is quite a lifesaver in many situations. Like, for example, there is a Hast just popping up in your face. You just press your Val Grace and pretty much nothing can kill you anymore. This is just such a nice oh shit button in my opinion. Also, I was using it in situations with Abyss monsters very often, when you're just getting overrun by rares that are buffed up like crazy from each other's auras. Val Grace is just huge for this build, like in general for evasion characters, in general for all characters, but especially for acrobatics characters, of course. The rest of my mana reserved is due to Blasphemy together with Enfeeble. This is more of a preference, I would say. You could also use Temporal Chains, of course. This is the survivability options, but you could also use a Despair. So if I press my Witchfire Brew, I have Despair up anyway, because it's a level 21 Despair curse, and Flask curses are always higher up in priority than other curses. So as long as I have my Witchfire Brew up, all the monsters around me have 21 Despair on them, so I do even more damage. But yeah, I also don't have the survivability anymore of the Enfeeble. Now we're coming to movement skills. I have 2. One is Blink Arrow together with faster attacks. So you're really, really quickly to get out of tricky situations. That's really nice. And for being even faster, also getting out of tricky situations, you have Phase Run. Phase Run is just a really nice skill. I love it because you can just press it even when you have no monsters around anymore, because you have to go back for some reason. And you don't have flasks anymore, and then you press it and you're still not that slow. So I'm a big fan of Phase Run. And last but not least, cast damage taken, increased duration, and immortal core, as you will find on most builds out there, especially hardcore ones. So yeah, this is the gear I have. You could push this character way further, of course, especially on Trade League, but maybe even souls are found if you're dedicated, I'd say, and if you're lucky too. So for example, you could craft your gear with aberrant fossils very nicely too. Get some minus chaos resistance to monsters around you here on the helmet. Get some chaos damage on your belt. And also craft jewels, because they add a special delve suffix which gives you increased chaos damage. So you can get like double increased chaos damage life in your jewels, which is pretty huge too. Let's take a short look at the skill tree. So this here is my tree. I was getting pretty much straight through the ranger area and got a lot of really good points here in the trickster area, a little bit here in the duelist area, and then I went for the big life reel here, especially also because having skill effect duration is pretty important for your clear and for your single target too. It's really helpful. Also, later on, you can pick up your acrobatics and your face acrobatics whenever you feel like it. I like picking it up like around Act 10, maybe even after Kidava, depends a little on my gear. And yeah, it's a really nice tree. You can just pick up damage and life whenever you feel like it. It's pretty straightforward, I'd say. So here are the ascendancy points we were going with. At first we are going for Gathering Winds, because Tailwind is one of the main selling points of Deadeye, I would say. It's just such a nice buff. And after that we are going here for the Far Shot, but that doesn't matter too much. You just pretty much walk through here to get to this node. The increased AoE is super huge for your clear. And also skills fire an additional projectile, again helps you with the clear a lot, or even with the single target. So this is just a super nice point. And then I was thinking, what else do we want? Do we want to go here, fast and deadly, or do we want to go here, powerful precision? Because you could take this one here. This would help us fix our problem with having Pierce on our Caustic Arrow now as a support gem. But I was going with this point here, because it's just buffing my damage of both of my skills, like the Toxic Rain and the Caustic Arrow, and also the Blink Arrow and Mirror Arrow cooldown recovery speed was huge for me, especially on hardcore play. So this is it for the skill tree. I was killing all the bandits, where I got the 2 extra skill points in the end. Hope you enjoyed my video. I really had a lot of fun making it, so expect some more YouTube content from me in the future. So click that subscribe button if you haven't already. Maybe you also wanna check out my Twitch livestream. I'm there most days during the week, and it would be cool if you would just say hi. Be friendly. So see you there. See you soon. Bye bye.